Have you ever stopped to think about who makes your morning coffee? Or that chocolate bar you grab in the afternoon? What about your dog's favorite food? Well, there's a very, very good chance they all come from the exact same place. Today, we're diving into the story of a company that is so massive, it's become this quiet, constant presence in pretty much every kitchen, everywhere. So take a look at these. Kit Kat, Nescafé, Gerber baby food, Nespresso pods. They all feel like their own totally separate, iconic brands, don't they? But here's the twist. They're not. Every single one of them, plus literally thousands more, are all owned by one single colossal company, Nestlé. It's the classic case of a brand that's hiding in plain sight. And when I say colossal, I really mean it. To put this into perspective, in 2023 alone, the company brought in 93 billion Swiss francs. That's more than the GDP of some entire countries. A number like that, it isn't just about sales. It's a direct measure of influence. It paints a picture of a corporation with just immense power over the world's food supply. And here it is. This is the nerve center of it all, the corporate headquarters in Vevey, Switzerland. I mean, from this one building, the largest publicly held food company on the entire planet makes decisions that affect what billions of us eat and drink every single day. But this global giant didn't just appear in a boardroom overnight. Its origins are actually way more humble, and believe it or not, they're rooted in a mission to save lives. So let's go all the way back to the beginning and see how a pretty simple, brilliant idea grew into a massive empire. So the company's whole original mission came from a truly heartbreaking problem. Back in the 1860s, a German pharmacist living in Switzerland, a guy named Henri Nestlé, was determined to solve the incredibly high rate of infant mortality. So many babies were dying because they couldn't breastfeed, and his goal was to create a safe, nutritious alternative. The whole journey really started with just a few key steps. In 1867, Henri Nestlé created his farine lactée, which just means flour with milk. At the same time, there was this rival company, Anglo-Swiss, making condensed milk. And after years of really fierce competition, they finally merged in 1905, creating an absolute powerhouse. Then, in 1938, they completely changed the coffee game with Nescafé, which became a huge hit, especially with the US military during World War II. You can actually see the company's whole story right here in its logo. It started out as Henri Nestlé's family crest, a bird's nest, because Nestlé actually means nest in his German dialect. And over the years, it got simpler and simpler, becoming the iconic design we all know today, a mother bird feeding her young. It's a direct callback to the company's roots in infant nutrition. So the big question is, how did a Swiss company selling baby formula and coffee turn into a global empire that owns everything from chocolate to dog food? Well, the answer is pretty simple. They went shopping for like an entire century. See, this is the crucial point. Their whole strategy was growth by acquisition. Nestlé's history is basically a long series of huge strategic buyouts. They bought Maggi Seasonings back in '47. Then in 1988, they snapped up the British confectioner Rowntree, which gave them Kit Kat. In 2002, they made a massive move into pet food with Ralston Purina. And then in 2007, they kind of came full circle and bought Gerber. This wasn't just about collecting brands. It was a calculated conquest of the entire supermarket. They were ensuring they dominate one new section after another. And what you get is a truly global footprint. The Americas, they make up the biggest slice of their sales pie at 43%, but they have a massive presence literally everywhere else too. Europe and the combined regions of Asia, Oceania, and Africa make up the rest. So they aren't just a Swiss company anymore. They're a worldwide economic force. So what are we all buying? Well, beverages. Think Nescafé and espresso. That's their biggest moneymaker by far. Right after that comes dairy products and ice cream, and then prepared foods like Maggi. This extreme diversification, that's the real key to their power and their stability. If one part of the business dips, they have dozens of others to hold the empire steady. But, a company of this size, with this much influence, it doesn't get there without attracting some really serious criticism. Nestlé's history isn't just about growth. It's also a story of major and pretty persistent controversy. The most famous of these controversies started way back in 1977. It became known simply as the Nestlé boycott. Activists accused the company of aggressively pushing its baby formula in developing countries. They argued it led mothers to abandon breastfeeding for a product that was not only less healthy, but often downright dangerous when mixed with unclean water. And this issue, it has haunted the company for decades. The heart of the criticism is that Nestlé's marketing tactics allegedly undermined breastfeeding, which, as we know, provides crucial antibodies. And in places without reliable access to clean, sanitized water, using formula could be a death sentence, leading to malnutrition and disease. But the scrutiny doesn't stop there. Just like other major chocolate companies, Nestlé has faced some very serious allegations about its cocoa supply chain. There have been numerous reports documenting the use of child labor, and in some cases, even forced or slave labor, on the West African plantations that provide the raw ingredients for products like Kit Kat. And then you have the battle over water. Nestlé is one of the world's biggest producers of bottled water. Critics have just slammed the company for its extraction practices, especially in areas that are already suffering from drought. It also got major backlash for its role in persuading the World Water Council to reclassify access to water not as a fundamental right, but as a need, which is a very subtle but very significant change in language. So, when you're facing this kind of complex and often criticized legacy, where does a company like Nestlé even go from here, right? How do you adapt for the future? Well, in response to both public pressure and changing consumer tastes, Nestlé has been trying to rebrand itself. It's making this huge strategic shift away from being just a food company to becoming a nutrition, health, and wellness company. They're investing heavily in products that promise health benefits, everything from vitamins to specialized medical nutrition. And all of this brings us to the central tension of Nestlé. Their public-facing slogan is "Good food, good life." It's simple, it's aspirational, and it stands in really stark contrast to the decades of controversy that have followed their business practices. Which leaves us with this one final crucial question. When a single corporation has this much power over our global food system, from baby formula in Africa to bottled water in America, what is the real cost of providing that good food, good life? That's something worth thinking about the next time you open your kitchen cabinet.